Hello and welcome to the Edition of Ringside Digest. I'm your host Kirk today, along with my co-host Nick Miller, and in this video we're going to be going over the Hall of Fame class of 2023 in the NHL. It was announced today, a lot of big names on it, a lot of guys also snubbed that we're going to be talking about, a few that should have probably made it over some others. Well, everybody's deserving, but some that should have made it. And we also are going to be talking about the next year's draft, Hall of Fame class, that will be that has been announced of who is eligible and who we could see potentially in that group make it into next year's induction ceremony. But like I said, we're going to be going over this stuff first, but make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The draft is coming soon. It's a very, very big time, very important time in the mind of all hockey fans and GMs, players everywhere. A lot of big moves going to be happening along with the draft, free agency. It's going to be very exciting. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss that. But we're going to be going over into the 2023 Hall of Fame inductions that have happened today. We got a few names here. Big one in this being Henrick Lundquist, Tom Barrasso, Caroline Ouellette, Pierre Turgeon, Mike Vernon, Pierre Lacroix, and Ken Hitchcock. Pierre Lacroix and Ken Hitchcock being the builders. But the big name that I would like to say in this one, just really quick, is Henrick Lundquist. We know this guy is arguably the best player in NHL history to not win a Stanley Cup, goalie or player, and best Swedish goalie of all time, one of the best goalies of all time. You know, one of my favorite goalies growing up, I know for sure. He has been incredible his whole NHL career. 887 games, 459 wins, 310 losses, and 96 overtime losses, and a .918 save percentage, and a .243 goals against average. You know, this guy was absolutely insane in his career. Played every game with the Rangers, played every game with Sweden. You know, any big international tournament, big game with the Rangers, it was always him to go to while in his NHL career. Very sad they didn't win Stanley Cup, though, gotta say. You know, it's one thing that if he made it onto the his accolade list would just set him probably top of pretty much everybody else that we have on the top goalie NHL list. But Nick, what do you think about this induction class of 2023?
Well, they're all very deserving inductees. Like Henrick Lundquist, like you said, especially though, I got to talk about him. Like I've never seen another goalie been so frustrating to play against, and like I don't know, but I gotta say he out goalied Carey Price a few times when he played against him, and that's a pretty hard thing to do. And like I mean, he's the epitome of class as well in the NHL. Like the guy was a great teammate. Like as you could see that from even outside the locker room, how much he cared about his players. I remember when Zuccarello got traded there when they were going into the rebuild. The guy was crying in the locker room in tears. Like he loved his team loved him, and the fans loved him. Even going against them, I loved Henrick Lundquist. So congratulations to all the inductees, especially him.
Yeah, no, they all deserve it, and especially him.
Yeah.
That's his spot now cemented in the hockey history where it belongs. But we have some guys here that also probably should be in that list here with some notable snubs this year. Just a list of them here: Alexander Mogilny, Rob Brind'Amour, Keith Tkachuk, Henrik Zetterberg, Jennifer Botrill, Patrick Elias, and Rick Nash. Now we're going to be going over. We picked one each just of who we thought could be on this list that potentially didn't make it. You know, that could probably have over some others. I'm going to go here with Alexander Mogilny. I don't have a little player image here, but you can see his stats. 990 games played with 1,032 points. He was point per game in the NHL, as well as his little time in, spent a little bit of time in Russia, not too much, so he's one of those Russian players that spent most of his time in the NHL. Bounced around from team to team, but, you know, he was good. Like, he 4-time All-Star, 1-time Stanley Cup, 1-time Lady Byng. He's been skipped over a few times in his NHL career from making the Hall of Fame, but I can see him getting there eventually, you know. There's always just some new people moving in, some people that are probably more deserving, and some people that have also been waiting a long time that we know probably should be in the Hall of Fame. But you're going to have to wait his turn, you know. It happens to everybody. It's going to happen, well, not to everybody, but a lot of people it happens to in the Hall of Fame lineup getting in. But you're going to have to wait. So, Nick, who do you have as yours here?
I'm absolutely baffled that Rob Brind'Amour didn't make it. Like and Rob Brind'Amour, like only for his stats as well as his coaching. But if you look at his stats, like over 1,100 points, almost 1,200 points in his NHL career. Was the captain of a Stanley Cup winning team. I believe won 2 Selke trophies as well. And like I just don't get how you can leave this guy off. Like he's not. This is not like obviously like we say this in the video. Like it's not against any of the inductees that made it this year. But I definitely think that Rob Brind'Amour should be on this list.
Yeah, as well as his coaching.
As well as coaching. Yeah, his coaching as well. Like I just want to also say that he's been a head coach for 5 years of the Carolina Hurricanes, and he's never missed the playoffs Lost in the third round twice. Yeah, they can't get over that hump, but I have a feeling eventually next year they probably will get over that hump.
Yeah.
And you can also see as a Jack Adams award there as well. So you could say that Rod Brind'Amour was probably one of the bigger snubs this year, if not the biggest.
Yeah, I think his coaching career coming up here in the past few years, like you said, last 5 years, head coach, making the playoffs and all of them, I think he'll be the coach of this Carolina team for a long time coming as well. I'm assuming that's going to give him a bit more boost in the future if he'll get put into the Hall of Fame, even as a coach, maybe, depending on what happens for the rest of his career. But he should be in there as a player, and now he better get put in there as a coach if this continues to be the status of the Carolina Hurricanes over the next decade or however long he coaches with this team. But now we have the next year's draft class Hall of Fame induction list that was also announced today. Few notable players as well that could be in this that probably will get first year votes, as we know. There's a lot of players that are still waiting to get in, but the few big names here you can see: Patrick Marleau, Ryan Miller, Pekka Rinne, Shea Weber, Pavel Datsyuk, and Ilya Kovalchuk. Although Kovalchuk has not officially announced his retirement from the hockey yet, he hasn't played since 2021, so you kind of gotta take that as he's done. Like, he's not gonna be playing no more, I wouldn't say. But we did the same thing for the last pick. We picked one player each. We're gonna be going over who we think it is. Gonna stick on the goalie side of things here. I'm gonna go with Pekka Rinne. I know his stats are hard to see here. You can't really see him. I got his numbers. It's 683 games played, 369, 213, and 75 record. A 243 goals against and a 917 save percentage over his career. Also, one of the best Finnish goalies of all time. Just the bordering countries, and arguably one of the better goalies, again, in NHL history, as well as a Nashville Predators legend. Got his statue unveiled in front of the Predators Arena, Bridgestone Arena, I believe it is, earlier this year. It might have been this year or last year. I have no idea when that was, but he does have a statue outside now. It's only a matter of time until he gets put into the Hockey Hall of Fame, which I think is another well-deserving spot. You got him up there with Mika Kiprasov in the Finnish goalie category. Two excellent historical goalies for the country. I can't see him not being in the Hall of Fame soon enough. It's pretty much either as soon as he can get available to for next year or very soon after. But another deserving goalie, the goalies are kind of my bias, I would say. Put them in the Hall of Fame, as long as they can get in there, they should be. That's what my thought is. But Nick, who do you have for your idea for next year's Hall of Fame?
I've got Pavel Datsyuk, probably the grossest mitts I've ever seen on an NHL player. Not probably, he is. We talked about this earlier. Patrick Kane is so good, but there was still a sizable gap between Patrick Kane and Pavel Datsyuk. This guy has made moves that nobody's ever seen before. They call it the Datsyuk move, the Datsyuk flip for a reason, right? And the guy played over in Russia for a lot of his career as well. Most of it in the NHL. But if you combine his points from the NHL and in Russia, he has well over 1,000. And it is the Hockey Hall of Fame, not the NHL Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure the guy has a couple of Selke trophies as well. He's got 3 Selke trophies, 4 Lady Bings, Bud Light Plus Minus award. Didn't know they even gave that out, but I guess that's another award. Obviously they don't give that out anymore, but he won it still. He was the best at that point there. And the guy has a couple of Stanley Cups as well. So, I think Pavel Datsyuk, if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, he will be in there the second year. There's no question that Pavel Datsyuk is going to be in there. And I know the obvious pick would have been Patrick Marleau for this right here, but I don't like making the obvious pick, and I'm going to go with Pavel Datsyuk.
Yeah, I'd say Pavel Datsyuk arguably could have made it, even if he didn't spend any time at all in the NHL, just with his KHL stuff and his international stuff. Guy's a legend. We know that. You get him. It would be kind of cool next year to see him and Zetterberg in the same year, but we'll see what happens then. Let us know if you want to see more hockey history, Hall of Fame stuff like this, going into the past, looking at some past records, some past points, some stuff like that. Let us know by liking the video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see it. Just let us know in the comments as well what kind of stuff you want to see regarding these older players and these older guys heading to the Hall of Fame. If you want to see some stuff about their careers, just let us know. We'll be happy to do it. We want some good ideas, add to the pile that we got already. That's all we get for this video, though. If you liked it, make sure to like the video. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to just see all the draft and free agency stuff that we have coming down the pipe, because it's getting very, very close to the date. We're going to be very, very busy around this time. But if you liked the video, make sure to like it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.